Today I'm sharing occult gameplay ideas for The Sims 4. These are story ideas you can try with your Sims, and I think they're really fun. So let's go into the video and I'll just start talking about the ideas. The first idea is to have a teen who runs away from home to become an occult. I've done this before, mostly with werewolves. I should try it with other occults, but I think werewolves are pretty perfect for it, especially if you join one of the packs, like the Wild Fangs. I feel like this is kind of a fun playstyle to try if you have a bit of a rebellious teen who wants to get away from home for whatever reason. This is my werewolf teen. She's really cute. When the werewolves pack first came out, I loved doing that playstyle with it. I had a Sim who was the daughter of the Sim president. In City Living, when you join the political career, you can become the national leader. So my Sim had her father in that position, and he was very famous. And so I felt like for her storyline, she didn't like being in the spotlight so much. So she ran away to Moonwood Mill, kind of living off the land as best as she could. And she was also spending a lot of time in the underground bunker under the bar lot while she was getting used to becoming a werewolf. Once she became a young adult, she started dating Rory and she joined the Wild Fangs. But then she felt like it just wasn't really right for her. Like she was going down a path she didn't really personally enjoy. So then she started dating Jacob from the other pack, the Moonwood Collective, I think is the name. If I can find the picture of them, I'll put it here now, but they were really cute. My next idea is to do a sort of good versus evil challenge in your gameplay. This is so fun. It's one of my favorite things to do with occults. It's when you have one part of the family that considers themselves good vampires or good spellcasters, and then another side that doesn't really like to play by the rules. They see themselves as perfect. They don't really think there's anything wrong with what they're doing, but the good side thinks they're really bad and evil. So to do that, you just choose good or evil kind of perks, basically. My Sim here can command other Sims with her vampire powers. She can deprive needs from other Sims. So that's kind of more the evil side. Whereas her brother, this Sim, he has the good vampire aspiration. And his perks are a little different. He doesn't have any of the ones where you can drain life spirit or deprive needs. And he has the guilty drinker weakness over here. So he really doesn't want to drink from other Sims. And so I gave them a bad relationship. They argue pretty often. They don't really get along about their ideology. I've done this mostly with spellcasters in my gameplay. I think spellcasters, ghosts, and hopefully fairies, maybe those will be the easiest to do this with. I think vampires and werewolves are a little bit harder. And the reason I think that is because with ghosts and spellcasters, it's a bit clearer on the skill trees which skills are considered bad or good. Like with spellcasters, you can choose to learn untamed magic or practical magic, which is just cleaning things and repairing things, whereas untamed magic is messing with other Sims. And the ghost skill tree has something similar where it's very clear to tell which skills belong to which side, and there's a neutral option also. I hope fairies will be like that too, and I think what I've seen so far, it seems like they will be. Here they are. This Sim and this Sim are siblings. But this one is the daughter of the Grim Reaper, and her mom was a spellcaster. So her mom was kind of delving into untamed magic a lot and trying to meet the Grim Reaper and have a baby with him. So her other family, like all of her siblings and their kids, they really look down on this Sim and her sister right here because they think they're kind of evil, basically. That family had a lot of money in inheritance, and so when their father died, he kind of split up the money, only giving a little bit of his money to the evil spellcasters, but he gave a lot of it to the ones who were the good spellcasters. Even though these Sims, like this girl and her sister, they are very good Sims. Like they're very friendly and nice. They learn all forms of magic, but because that includes untamed magic, their cousins and extended family all think they're bad and kind of isolate them. So that's been really fun to play through the past few generations. And that's why I really recommend this story idea, because it can go on for generations. It's not just a simple one and done kind of thing. You can make it go on for like 3 or 4 generations at least in your gameplay. Part of that is with inheritance, like who gets the money because the parents approve of the way the good spellcasters are living, or maybe they approve more of the evil spellcasters. So then the other side has to work really hard, and then maybe their kids are bitter about that. Maybe they get in fights with their cousins at school because they know their families just don't like each other and make things a lot harder for each other. Maybe they get in fights every time they see each other. There's a lot of gameplay you can do with having like a good versus evil thing. The next idea is to have an opposite occult sim child. So if your sim is a vampire and they have a child, maybe that child rejects vampire lifestyle and they really don't like it. So they choose to become a werewolf instead. And that's easy, of course, if they're born as a human. Maybe they didn't get the vampire gene, but they're still living in a vampire family and they're around vampires all the time. Maybe they decide to go the opposite way, and that could really make things complicated with their family relationships. But if they are born as a vampire in this scenario, or maybe you have a werewolf parent and they're born as a werewolf and they want to become a vampire instead, you might have to work on getting a cure. So that brings me into the next story idea, which is curing your sim of either vampirism or being a werewolf. So to cure a vampire of vampirism, you have to drink a vampire cure, basically. And the person who makes the cure, it could be yourself or it could be somebody else who wants to make the cure for you. They have to have level 15 of the vampiric lore skill. They need to have 2,500 simoleons, 10 garlic pieces, 10 wolfsbane, and 10 plasma fruit. You unlock these items as you go along the vampiric lore skill. Once they have all those ingredients, all they need is level 1 mixology, so basically anybody can make it. Then they can make the cure and you give it to the vampire and restore their humanity. So that could be a fun storyline to go on, not just to stop being a vampire, but maybe it's a romance story between them and the sim who gives them the cure. Maybe they're working together with another sim to make a cure and stop being a vampire. I think you could make a lot of fun stories with this cure thing. And with werewolves, there's also a cure. To cure yourself of being a werewolf, it's a little bit more difficult than the vampire one, I think, because you need a specific dormant ability. So a dormant ability in the game is not something you can just unlock with perk points. It's something random, like the little werewolf traits, and they get assigned to your werewolf as you play. But to unlock this one, you can read werewolf books, and those books will tell you how to create a cure. And then to make the cure, you need 3 moon petal flowers, 9 wolfsbane flowers, and then you can make the wolf be gone drink at the bar. It was a little bit unclear on the Wikipedia page which books you should read to be able to unlock the cure and get the dormant ability that you need to make it. So I found it on the Steam community pages. You have to read an insider's guide to being a werewolf. And you find the book by going in the underground tunnels in Moonwood Mill. And it's recommended to have the night vision skill in the werewolf skill tree. So this one is more difficult, in my opinion, than the vampire cure. So I think it's even better for a story because it's a really long journey for your sim. I haven't personally played a storyline of curing a vampire or a werewolf, but I think it would be really fun. What I also think is really fun is becoming a vampire slayer, and that's the next idea. To become a vampire slayer, you have to learn the vampire lore skill. One of the first things you unlock is garlic seeds to be able to prevent vampires from coming into your house. So you could definitely play a sim who lives in Forgotten Hollow, and their mission is to slay all the vampires, but they need to protect their house while they're living there and stop vampires from coming in. And then, like the vampire cure drink, there are other drinks you can make. You can make the vampire resistance cocktail from wolfsbane, and this will make you more resistant to vampire powers. And then, like we mentioned before with the vampire cure, you unlock it at level 15. You need the garlic, plasma fruit, and wolfsbane, and you can make the vampire cure. At this point, you should have a really high fitness skill to be able to face a vampire. Once you have the vampire cure in your inventory, go to a vampire and then choose the option to slay a vampire. It is a mean social interaction, so you might have to have a bad relationship with them first before you do it. When you do slay vampire, you basically fight them and force the cure onto them. But your sim has to win the fight, which is why they should have high fitness skill to be able to face the vampire. I haven't done this one myself yet because I really like playing with occults. I've played with some humans who dislike occults, but they just kind of keep their distance. I haven't really had a human sim fighting an occult in my own personal gameplay. I've done a lot of occults fighting other occults and humans fighting other humans, but I haven't really done it like this. It's definitely something I want to try sometime. I think it would be really fun to play a vampire slayer who just lives in a little cabin in Forgotten Hollow and goes around trying to save the world from vampires. My next idea is to have siblings being opposite with their occult powers. So maybe one of them is really skilled and strong and amazing, and their parents praise them all the time for being a good spellcaster or vampire or werewolf or whatever. And then their sibling is maybe more interested in human things. Maybe they're just not that into being an occult. And so that could cause some drama in your Sims families, especially if maybe one of the parents is an occult and the other one isn't. Maybe they have one child who's an occult and the other one isn't. And so that could lead to some favoritism with the parents and the kids. And then the last idea is to start an evil occult club. So here we have the Vamps Club, and here we have to drink plasma. Oh, this one is drink plasma. This one is use vampire powers. And this one is fight with everyone. Let me see more skills you can add here. So if you're a spellcaster, you can do chaotic or helpful spells, or just spells in general. But if you're trying to make it an evil spellcaster club, then you would choose the chaotic spells. Here's evil and good ghost mastery. It looks like it's a bit harder with werewolves to do something like this. Same with aliens. It's very general, because these could be good alien powers or good or neutral werewolf abilities. But with spellcasters and vampires, you could cause some chaos, but you could also have them fight other Sims like I have here. You could have them swipe or sabotage objects too. If you have the extreme violence mod, I'm pretty sure killing Sims is one of the club activities you can do. So you could really cause some chaos with club activities. You could just have your vampire Sims show up in places and ruin everybody's day. But they like being evil vampires, so it's fine. I once ran a club like this where we would go out and do all these vampire things, but the leader of the club, it was a different sim, she would turn random Sims into vampires. And then once their transformation was completed, she would add them into the club. And I also had extreme violence installed. So they were going around killing other occults and human Sims, and it was pretty fun. So that's all for today. I hope you liked some of these occult gameplay ideas. I'm going to make another video on fairy gameplay ideas once I have the pack. I don't know if I'll be able to get it as soon as it comes out because, you know, expansion packs are pretty expensive. Maybe I can get it when it comes out. I'm not sure yet. But once I do have it, I want to make a video on a bunch of fairy gameplay ideas. If you liked the video, please make sure to like and subscribe so you can see when I post more. And let me know in the comments if you've done any fun occult story gameplay ideas in your game, or if you've tried any of these. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!